Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm calling this meeting of the Sonoma County Junior College District Board of Trustees to order. Appreciate those attending in person and those of you coming to us online. We'll begin, as we always do, with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we gather at Santa Rosa Junior College on the territorial traditional land of the Pomo people in Santa Rosa and the Coast Miwok people in Petaluma, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. As a reminder, for those of you who are here in person and wishing to speak, please grab one of the yellow comment cards in the back of the room and fill it out and bring it to Zara at the front desk here. If you are joining us online and wishing to speak on an item, please wait to raise your hand until called to do so by me, and we will call on you at the appropriate time. That takes us to item B1, announcements of reportable actions from closed session. There are none. That brings us to item B2, approval of the open session agenda. Trustees, do I have a motion and a second on the agenda? Any public comments here in the room or online on the agenda, or board members wishing to speak on that? Seeing none, we will go for his first ever student trustee advisory vote to student trustee Reed.
Aye.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Next, that takes us to item B3, a public hearing on SEIU Local 1021 and district reopeners for 25-26 negotiations. Do I have any public comments here in the room on this item or online? Seeing none, any board members wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we will go on to item B4, approval of our regular meeting minutes from our last regular meeting. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments or discussion on this item? Seeing none, student trustee Reed. Student trustee Reed.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? The minutes are approved. Next, that takes us to item B5, approval of our special meeting minutes from our special meeting that we held in May. Do I have a motion and a second on those minutes? Any public comment on this item here in the room or online, or board members wishing to comment? Seeing none, student trustee Reed.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstention? The ayes have it. The minutes for the special meeting are approved. That takes us to item B6, public comments on non-agenda items. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board, up to 20 minutes maximum allotted for speakers on any one subject. Please state your name and any affiliation for the record. We will start in the room and then move to online. We will start with Mike Vonderpoorten.
Good afternoon, Mike Vonderpoorten here, here as a citizen and a taxpayer. Welcome to summer, we're getting warm. I'm gonna bring you 3 ideas in 3 minutes. So first of all, I've given you a handout which related to the Doyle Scholarship. And when you look at the Doyle Scholarship, remember Frank Doyle said it was for worthy students. That is, those who had shown that they could achieve in academics in high school and then in the junior college. People do whatever whatever you measure, whatever you incentivize, whatever you reward is what we get. So here's an analysis. And if you take a look at it, going across kind of diagonally, we have the number of students who have signed up for certain numbers of units who accomplished that. And if we look in these top areas, we find about 50% of the students accomplished what they said they were going to do. That is, 50% of those who took 15 or more units finished it. 50% didn't. Same thing for 12, 9, and 6 units. So about half accomplished what they said they were going to do. And then we end up with significant numbers, particularly this group over here who don't accomplish it. And if we go back and look at the Doyle Scholarship, we hand out money based upon give out money based upon staying in class and achieving. So we incentivize people to sign up for classes, show up for 1 week, and collect the money. And then there's never a clawback if you don't achieve. And if you do the calculations based upon these 2 sets of data, you can estimate that it's about $650,000 per semester is handed out for students who didn't achieve. And that seems to be a pretty high number. It's 29%, or about $1.3 million a year, I'd say is overspent. And one option with this, of course, is to redo it so that you hand out money based upon achievement, not based upon signups. Again, giving you a handout. This happens to be an article. This came out of Fox News, but it's in all of the news papers. The concern is out there about students who can't achieve, no testing, you put them in the classes and they can't succeed and they drag down the classes. NPR was talking about students in college who can't solve 1/2 plus 1/3 and get the answer. That's a 4th or 5th grade level problem. We need to address it. We need to make sure we can offer a solid education. Third item in 3 minutes. Here's a headline: Sebastopol Library closes down. Now, they weren't very good about some of their communications because they didn't really explain it. They just shut the doors and said, don't get in here, it's not safe. What happens at SRJC when a safety issue is found? You go ahead and say, keep drinking the Kool-Aid. Keep drinking the water. We know these hoses are not safe. We know they don't meet NSF, but we will tell you falsely that they're NSF safe. The only words we get back from this board, are nobody cares. The library board cares. We thank you, library board.
Thank you. That is the only public comment I have in the room, but I will do another call. Anyone in the room wishing to provide public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, is there anyone online with public comment on non-agenda items? All right, seeing none, we will close the public comment and we will move on to item B7, monthly update, starting with the college president report from Dr. Garcia.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, President Chabon, trustees, student trustee Reed, colleagues, students, and community members. I want to begin by welcoming student trustee Jason Reed to the dais and to his first official board meeting. Already have had the pleasure to connect with him on multiple occasions, and I have no doubt that you are going to provide outstanding service on behalf of students. So congratulations and welcome. I want to offer my gratitude for the commencement planning team led by Jenna Barrett and Dr. Molly Senecal for the work that went into making that day incredibly special for the graduates, their family, the community members, all who participated. I also want to recognize that the work in the setup, while the committee is cross-functional across the college, key folks in facilities, buildings, facilities, custodial, and our media services for several days. I'm incredibly grateful for the work that you do to make sure that the structure is set up so that we could have a smooth process. So much appreciation. I was really glad that we did not have a crazy windstorm this year, like the year previous, that knocked things down. As a part of it, I'm looking forward to our graduation appreciation lunch that we have tomorrow, and that's to recognize the volunteers that participated in commencement for their time and service to students. And while I love every part of commencement, from shaking students' hands to seeing their caps and gowns designed to represent their cultural or program identities, this year I was especially touched by the voices of the SRJC choir, led by faculty Dorita Seth. It was a beautiful gift to see students in action that way, and I was just pleasantly surprised to see that and just the level of engagement of students. I want to offer congratulations to the students and to Professor Seth. The transition from the end of the semester to summer and fall preparations is short and well underway, with final grades being submitted, financial accounts preparing for the end of year close, and scheduling future events such as the new faculty orientation in August. However, I do want to provide an update on an issue that has impacted many in our community. Banner implementation has become increasingly disruptive due to the scale, volume, and complexity of integration. SRJC has been hearing reports from frontline students, high school partners, and employees about how these challenges are impacting our systems, particularly with registration, affecting the student experience, and employee morale. The following information is meant to provide general context, progress to date, and strategies underway for stabilizing Banner implementation moving forward. So for some background and context, we migrated from a homegrown system to Banner SAS, which constitutes a major transition. We are implementing the SAS version of Banner, which is a product of Ellucian, and is cloud-based. So it's less conducive to customization, but it is the new model going forward for SIS systems. So we are on the front end of that paradigm shift with all the other colleges that are also experiencing these challenges. We've loaded 10 years of historical data from one tool to another, which requires extensive data cleanup and validation. HR and accounting systems are not in our Banner environment. That was not something that the district purchased many years ago. The decisions not to purchase those components were not to mitigate costs, but based on functional considerations, analysis, and the connectivity that the district has to the county for our systems to be able to communicate. I want to provide some additional just high-level updates across the different course streams. So for curriculum and catalog, we have implemented Banner catalog and curriculum and are currently implementing Course Sleeve and CIM, which is the curriculum management platforms. The schedule of classes is live in Banner for summer and fall, and we're working through the scheduled data cleanup. So I want to thank all of the academic deans, folks the staff especially who support the development and the uploading of that. And the current user interface will be replaced with Course Leaf Path Registration Platform. In its full implementation, it is more user-friendly than the current Banner interface. So that's Course Leaf. For counseling, they've been incredibly busy. DegreeWorks has been implemented, and counselors are creating educational plans for students using the platform. There have been some recent outages that made DegreeWorks temporarily unavailable, and we continue to work with the vendor on that to resolve in a timely manner. But I want to recognize and thank that the counselors, the counseling team, the division, everyone is all hands on deck to support students during this time. Approximately 90% of the data has been migrated from our current SIS to Banner, and the current focus is we're completing all the pending files. So the things that just need the validation that the data is accurate and correct. From a financial aid perspective, we're submitting the institutional student information records for 26-27 in Banner and using Power F-Aids, the previous financial aid management software tool, to finish up this academic year. So the financial aid team is also working the team is working on training to support students once they begin packaging, when they start to receive their financial aid packages. Our admissions and records team has been working around the clock. CCC Apply is live, and there are a high volume of applications that need to be touched or need to be validated for data verification. And this is for either ID verification or otherwise. This is how we are addressing that it's actual live students that are enrolling in courses and that we're not getting any fraudulent applications or enrollments. And then other complexities, and I would say this is where the bulk of the work has been, is to work through the complexities with prerequisites, placements, registration holds, overrides. So again, I cannot express how much is an all hands on deck with folks from across the departments supporting students through this process. There are approximately 50, just to provide the context and scope, there are approximately 50 applications that need to be integrated. And so at present, applications that have been integrated with Banner in working with the teams were in priority in working with teaching and learning spaces. So Canvas, 25 Live, CCC Apply, FormStack, SARS, Maxian. So those are examples of some of the applications that are connecting to Banner. At present, we have 15 legacy SIS reports that have been rebuilt in Banner, and there's over 20 new reports that have been created in Banner. What those do is it provides the information so that in the new reporting needs that we have to do, we're able to provide that at state and federal levels. TouchNet is live in regards to students' accounts. So payment terminals will be deployed at various office locations for staff members who will be trained to use them to engage students with their accounts. The district has been emailing weekly Banner updates. And so I want to encourage, it's been going to employees and students, and they are archived on our website. So to folks that are here in the room or joining us online, please go to the Banner informational webpage, which is sis.santarosa.edu. All of the communications are there. All of the access to resources are there. And we continue to work on providing targeted training sessions that are being held for Banner end users and frontline employees. And the trustees, you do have on your agenda today a request to support an increase of training hours so that we can continue to support colleagues in the operations of the implementation. There are so many thank yous behind this, but I need to highlight some key departments that really have been intricately involved. So to the IT team, admissions and records, counseling, financial aid, welcome and connect center, and honestly, all the colleagues throughout departments who are fielding questions and directing students to support services, thank you for the work that you're doing. I do want to share that in my role as CEO, I've been actively engaged with college presidents across our system to advocate for Aleutian leadership to engage and correct systematic challenges that are impacting over 30 California community colleges. So I am a part of a group that is trying to address that which we are experiencing will be rectified, and for any colleges that come after us, that they will not experience the same challenges. However, I truly am sorry for the inconvenience, the frustration, the time that interfacing with Bear Cub Hub is causing for students, employees, and community partners. Please do keep us informed of your experience. And again, I just want to reiterate, go to sis.santarosa.edu for all updates and communications. We want to hear from you. We want to make sure that you are able to register and get into your classes. In closing, I also want to acknowledge and thank all of the SRJC community members who have engaged in the various opportunities to provide their perspective, share recommendations, and submit questions or concerns regarding the SRJC district reorganization work that is underway and throughout next academic year. We are in the midst of the phase that we communicated, which is the data analysis. So all of the qualitative data that's come from the town halls, the forms, the different department and division meetings, and now with quantitative data from everything related to student outcomes to employee metrics. We're looking at all of that, fiscal as well. So I look forward to continuing the partnership with our constituency group leads, continuing to be very public about the work that is underway. And I'm incredibly grateful for the way that folks, while might be feeling a little apprehensive and a little nervous, I think are trying to lean into the innovation opportunity. We're given an opportunity to say, how can we do this better? And I think that folks are rising to that challenge and challenging right back. So with that, I wish those that are on summer break a continued amazing summer break, and those of you that are continue to be here, wish you luck as you start classes next week, and wish the best for our faculty and staff who are supporting students. With that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Next, we'll go on to the SRJC Foundation report with Trustee Fishman.
Hi, everybody. The foundation will host its annual board recognition dinner on July 11th to say thank you to departing board members and welcoming new members. Our departing chair, she's not leaving the board, but she won't be chair, is Susie Marzalak, and we thank her immensely. And our new chair will be Troy Sanderson, who's the president of the Exchange Bank. And the vice chair is Brian Reeves, who has a rather long title, but I'll leave it at he's with the wine group. Our departing members who are leaving us is Scott Bartley, Doug Garrison, and Caroline Spence. They will be terminating off the foundation board this year, and we give them thanks for literally their years of service to SRJC and to our students. We also look forward to welcoming new board member Tate Burney, an estate planning attorney from West County. Please save the date for the 2026 President's Address to the community on Wednesday, September 30th in the Burbank Auditorium. The President's Medallion this year will be awarded to the Welfare League of Santa Rosa. The Welfare League has been supporting scholarships at SRJC for more than 70 years. You can find tickets and sponsorship information on the foundation's website. As of April 30th, the foundation had secured $9.1 million in donations to support scholarships and programs and is on track to meet our goal of $10 million by the end of the fiscal year. Thank you.
Trustee Fishman, if I just may, you said July 11th for the board dinner. It's June 11th. I just wanted the minute.
sorry.
That's okay. Just wanted the minutes to
June
reflect the
11th,
date.
this Thursday, day after tomorrow. Thank you. It was a J.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have a Board Finance Committee report with Trustee Martinez.
The Board Finance Committee met on Wednesday, May 27. The committee reviewed the 2026-2027 tentative budget and discussed the May revise and its impact on the tentative budget. The tentative budget is only a preliminary approval to spend while the state finishes their budget process and the district finalizes the year-end negotiations. The adopted budget will be presented to the board in September for approval, and the tentative budget is on the board agenda for approval today.
Thank you very much for that report. Next up, we have our bond update with VP Jolly.
Good afternoon. All right. President Shaban, members of the board, Dr. Garcia, college community, I'm happy today to provide an update on our projects and your agenda items. So I'm going to start with the Race Hall large classroom. So the scope of this project is to convert existing space within Race Hall into a large classroom for health sciences. Our demolition began on May 14th, and we're on track for anticipated completion next month. Next up is the Schoen Farm restroom building. So this project needed renovations to achieve certification with DSA. Besides certifying the foundation, the work included addition of fire sprinklers and ADA improvements. So there is a change order on the agenda for today to address items that came up during construction. The change orders for $7,889. The work includes lowering a new fire water line, adjusting the ADA path of travel for slope conditions, and then repairs to the subfloor. This will bring our change orders to 5.44%, and the project should be completed this month. The Schoen Farm new storage shed and head house project is also nearing completion. This project provides new storage and facilities up at the Schoen Farm. There's also a 1.94% change order on the agenda for $2,643 to add an electrical circuit to the shed, and completion is anticipated this month. Moving to the Petaluma campus, the media services and tutorial remodel. This project updates workspace for media and a new tutorial center for students in the library. Construction is being phased with each phase running approximately 8 weeks. We're preparing for it to kick off at the end of July and anticipated completion is in December. And then our final project update is for the Pioneer Hall Security Project. This is to cover the installation of new card readers and cameras within Pioneer Hall. Construction is set to begin this month with anticipated completion by the end of summer. I want to briefly highlight 4 items on the agenda that we haven't reviewed. First is the 5-year capital outlay plan. So the district is required to submit this plan to the chancellor's office annually to give a complete picture of our capital projects. And it is used at the statewide level to advocate for funding on behalf of the community colleges. So on the agenda is the 2027 to 2031 plan, which includes 3 projects that were already approved at the state level, the STEM, the Towser Gym renovation, and Public Safety Training Center expansion. There are no new listed projects on the report as we are not in a position to provide any required match funds. However, if we are able to secure additional capital funding in the future, we would add projects in future years. There are 2 Roseland items, SRJC Roseland items on the agenda for approval. The first is a contract amendment for Lathrop Construction. This amendment is actually a credit. It returns the remaining project contingency balance of $121,429 back to Measure H, which brings our final change orders to 8.87%. The second is the recommendation to file the notice of completion for the project. Next up, as Dr. Garcia mentioned, is a contract amendment with Strata Information Group in the amount of $271,830. This is funded through Measure H ITG funds. This covers approximately 1,400 additional hours of technical training and some project management to support to carry banner implementation through its final phases of completion. And then lastly, we have Amendment 6 and 7 to our contract with Harrison Associates for our labor compliance monitoring. These amendments cover continued support through the final closeout of the remaining Measure H projects. The recommended increase is $30,745, bringing total contract to $1,566,715, inclusive of all previous amendments. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Next, we will go to our student trustee report. Student trustee Reed.
Good afternoon, Dr. Garcia, President Shaban, esteemed members of the board, SRJC faculty and staff, my fellow peers and community. My first report will serve as an introduction as well as a declaration of my commitment to this position. I am 45 years old and a longtime Sonoma County resident, raised here from a very young age after being born in Colorado. My early years were tumultuous at best, and I endured traumas that helped set the stage for struggles that lasted well into my adulthood. I was not allowed to enroll at a public high school as a result of my behavior, and instead attended the Clean and Sober School and Los Galicos Community, both continuation schools run by the Sonoma County Office of Education, where I would earn my GED at 17. Instead of the workforce, college, or the military, I entered the youth to prison pipeline, and I would go on to do several jail and prison terms totaling more than 14 years of incarceration. I am a felon, and while that fact does not define me, it is certainly a part of my story, and I am not ashamed, nor do I hide from it. In fact, I consider it a superpower and have wielded my lived experience to overcome barriers, turn struggle into success, and become the person I am today. I share similarities with students who have been justice impacted, fought uphill battles against addiction, food insecurity, being unhoused, stigma, and systems. I am dedicated to being a voice and a champion for all students, but for those ones especially. The fact that I have the honor and privilege to sit on this board is a testament to the hard work I have put in to make the necessary changes in my life that have gotten me here. I do not take it lightly and will be very intentional with how I approach this position. I measure my success by my advocacy efforts and how well I am able to show up for and to give back to my peers, and community. Here's what this looks like. I am in a leadership role for the Second Chance Rising Scholars Program as the Interclub Council representative. I am in active recovery from addiction and the president of the Students for Recovery Club, which is also aligned with a student organization collaboration hosted by the SRJC Intercultural Center and is centered on social justice. I serve as a lead youth mentor at the Young Men's Ultimate Weekend, a rite of passage adventure camp. I am a 5th District representative on the Sonoma County Behavioral Health Board. I am on a peer advisory council for Felton Institute's Crossroads to Hope, an innovative residential transitional housing program located in Santa Rosa. I also work closely with multiple local nonprofit organizations in the harm reduction sector, such as Micah's Hugs, to provide education, training, awareness, and the distribution of life-saving materials such as naloxone and test strips to schools, communities in response to the fentanyl epidemic. I wear many hats and give my best daily to harmonizing all areas of my life, including my education and employment. I'm working on multiple degrees in social work and human services, social and behavioral sciences, and certification as a wellness coach, and have already been certified as a peer educator while maintaining a Dean's highest honors level GPA, and for the last 14 months, have been employed as a peer success coach here on campus in the academic counseling department. This has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, not only from working with a large cohort of students and helping them to be successful in their pathways to education, but also working side by side with the incredible counselors, administrators, and staff. I have a bittersweet feeling today because it is my last day in this role. I will, however, be transitioning over to the Rising Scholars Program as a success coach and serving a smaller population of formerly incarcerated students, which I am particularly passionate about supporting as they navigate what can be an overwhelming transition to higher learning. One of the things I love most about the Santa Rosa Junior College and this district is that you will most certainly receive an education around intersectionality and inclusivity, both in and outside of the classroom. And I appreciate this with all of me. To be heard, seen, included, accommodated, and set up for success no matter who you are is something that is inherently valuable and amazing, and something I am sure we would all like more of in our world. Promoting these virtues, as well as the health and welfare of students, is and will continue to be the ground that I stand firmly upon as I undertake the student trustee position. I will bring a collaborative spirit to work closely with our newly elected Student Government Assembly President, Diego Roman, who I know to be someone who shares the same passion and sentiment for our peers, to participate avidly in shared governance and be a student voice with integrity, steadfastness, determination, confidence, and humility. I hope to be able to fill the shoes of my amazing predecessor, Kaya Clark, who I have had clear and open communication with and appreciate greatly. I will end by saying that one thing that I have identified as something to focus on in the days ahead will be to lean in and support each other, not divide any further than we already may be. This rings true for all humanity, and in light of everything from policies to budget cuts, the more we close the gaps and work together, the better off we will be. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you very much for that inaugural report. And on behalf of the board, we look forward to working with you as a voice of students for the upcoming academic year. Next, that takes us to board member comments. Any board members wishing to comment? Trustee Battenfeld, please.
I just want to again echo Dr. Garcia and thanking everyone for graduation. I've just had lots of feedback from people in the community whose students were at graduation, who were there, and yeah, the choir, just the general feeling and the success and the excitement. So I just want to thank everybody. I have heard really good feedback. And then on a personal note, just on behalf of my family, the other graduation I attended was my grandson's graduated with honors from Berkeley as a result of transferring from the JC. And so his success at Berkeley, he would, and I would really credit the JC for, especially want to thank, his teachers, the counselors who spent so much time with him, the financial aid office, everybody on campus really helped him find his, what he figured out, what was going to be his passion for studies. And he did really, really well. And so thank you to all the JC folks. You don't see it probably, but the end result, I just wanted to show my appreciation for that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other board members wishing to speak?
Oh.
Yeah. Trustee Martinez, please go ahead.
I was like waiting. Well, I wanted to also echo about the graduation. It was super fun. A big shout out to the students because they had a wake up call for 6 a.m. I was like, I was still dreaming at that time. I parked in just in time for my cup of coffee and then go straight to the ceremony. So a big shout out to all of y'all who graduated, participated, the families. That was pretty early. I think it was a little change from years before at 8 a.m. So it was a great ceremony. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed our speaker. And I had a moment with her because she was like, do you know that student? I was like, no, because I kept yelling like, ah. I'm like, I keep yelling because there's some students that you don't hear, like somebody cheering for them. I'm like, I have no idea who they are. I barely knew this class of students. So I was just really excited for them. So I tend to do that at almost all graduations. But this time I also had the honor of being, I always participate, but actually speaking on behalf of the administration, Dr. Garcia, and the board for the Latinx graduation. And let's just say that even though you think you're like ready or whatever, and you've done it a million times, it is very nerve-wracking. But it was very exciting to have over 100 students participate. I believe there was at least 145 certificates awarded in one way or another. And that's a big number. It was the third annual one. And I was also very honored to have their keynote speaker be Ozzy Osvaldo Jimenez, because I actually, in my early years, he was also commencement speaker, and he kept it very real and honest. And one of the things that I appreciate about that graduation, which I actually did see at the main one too, there was a few students crying. I think they were also on their own. And I think that's also important to note, because I think that this journey, and especially now in the last decade, I can tell you that the journey of higher education can be either a lonely one on their own, or one where they're struggling multiple jobs, multiple things, just to complete something that is both a need for a better opportunity for better pay, for opportunity for vacation, right? In the job, day-to-day job, opportunity to be able to take their kid to a field trip, or to be with their kid when they're sick, and also for advancement of knowledge. So there's definitely different levels of why they're there. But our student speaker, I also had the opportunity to meet her way before then, because aside from everything that I do, I'm also a mom, and my kid had a field trip at Shone Farm, and a big shout out to Shone Farm, all the staff, all of our ag ambassadors. They did a great job, but also to hear her story. One of, her sole provider, who was her grandmother, passing away right as she started the JC, and her having to still move from Lake County to Sonoma County and doing all of those things. Those are the students we serve. So for me, it's not just going and celebrate, but also acknowledging all of the struggles that they have overcome, whether they be on their own or be with, services that we provide, programs. Thankfully, she's lived on campus at Shone Farm, is doing what she loves with her hot pink nails. And I'll never forget that part of her sharing, because it is a lot of work, right? And we serve a multitude of students, very diverse age, gender, their thinking, where they're coming from, et cetera. And so I really appreciate being able to be present at those events. I also appreciate being able to come onto this campus as not a trustee, but as a mom or a friend of someone who's coming here for the first time, because all you all do such amazing work from our IT folks making sure, like, all of the students are being shown on the camera, and then they don't show us messing around in the back, like as trustees, like, talking and so on, and focusing on the students, to, a student assistant or ag ambassador showing another little kid, like, this is what we do here. This is so important. So I really greatly appreciate all of that. And I appreciate having the opportunity to show up in all of the different hats to this campus, because I am very well received, and the people that I'm coming with, and especially like when I'm talking about my son, feeling welcome and feeling intrigued and just wanting to know more, and understanding that this college offers not just going to the planetarium and looking at the stars, or someone with a book, but also getting dirty and digging out that little lizard, etc., and just jumping off. It's a magical thing to see. So shout out to the students, and shout out to all of the staff for all that you do all year round, and our faculty and administration. I just gotta say thanks, and thank you all. Well, not that I didn't miss you at Latino Grad, but thank you for giving me that opportunity and really welcoming our families, and congratulating them, because it's a true honor to be able to do that in this seat, especially. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Any other board members wishing to comment? Seeing none, I'll just say ditto thank you to Trustee Martinez's comments. Moving on, we will go to item B8, report, starting with the Academic Senate report. Do we have Academic Senate President Stover here? I do not see him. He's usually hard to miss in a room. Next, we will go to Classified Senate report with President Linda J.
Good evening and happy Pride, President Shaban, Board of Trustees, Dr. Garcia, and college community. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Classified Senate. The Finals Week Coffee Talk Cafe, coordinated through a partnership of the Classified Senate, Academic Senate, and President's Office, was a huge hit last month. By my estimate, throughout Finals Week, we served at least 24 dozen donuts and brewed about 600 cups of coffee, along with tea, hot chocolate, fruit, various pastries, and gluten-free options. It was wonderful to watch people come together, put names to faces, and reconnect with old friends. Dr. Stover and I do hope to continue to the Coffee Talk Cafe into the 26-27 academic year, with the goal of hosting it once a month, as the district community truly enjoyed the offerings and the spirit of collegiality they inspired. I'd like to give a huge thank you to Jenny Arden, the Senate Events Pillar Lead, and Karen Lamb, Administrative Assistant of the Academic Senate, for their hard work and help with the cafe. I could not have done it without their help. I am so sorry to have missed the Pride festivities last week. I was out of town attending the annual Classified Leadership Institute held last week in Riverside, California. I'm excited to report Gillian Estes, Administrative Assistant 3 in Academic Affairs, and Becerra Abundes, and Medical Assistant and Student Health Services, also attended, having been sent by their respective departments. Thank you to Dean Robignoli, Dean Goldstein, and Director Rebecca Norwick for supporting your classified professionals to attend. I am so happy to see classified professionals beyond the Senate participating in CLI, as it is open to all classified employees. Last week began with the President's Retreat, where I had a wonderful conversation with Senate President Karen Peterson of Crafton Hills College. She is currently revamping their classified Senate bylaws to reflect our pillar-based structure. I plan to offer a workshop at CLI next year on our structure and the benefits it has brought to our classified Senate. Throughout the week, I attended excellent workshops on addressing hierarchical microaggressions, ethical AI practices, essential leadership skills, and a little bit of art therapy. I look forward to applying the skills, informations, and practices gained at CLI back to our shared governance work in the year ahead. We received a budget and legislative update from Andrew Martinez, Deputy Director of the Community College League of California. Keynote speakers, Dr. John Hernandez, President of Irvine Valley College, and Dr. Tracy Coleman, Dean at Chabot College, delivered powerful messages on the power of presence and the idea of it takes a village, themes that resonated deeply, and I felt very much felt like a reflection of the work we strive for here. We were also pleased to give a shout out to our own Dr. Garcia again as next year's keynote speaker, enthusiastically echoed by others in the room. It wasn't just us shouting her name. We hope to see that happen, especially as CLI will be held right here in Santa Rosa at the Downtown Hyatt. Super excited, beyond thrilled to welcome CLI to our hometown. My hope is that each manager, I was hoping more managers would be here today because I was going to look at all of you one by one, hoping that each manager will be able to send at least one classified professional from their department to CLI next year. As a reminder, CLI is open to all classified employees and it is an amazing professional development opportunity. My goal is to have my entire Senate in attendance in 2027. I'm not sure if I can get a group together, but we just may have a chance to win the Spirit Stick if I can get people on stage. We'll see. Thank you, Dr. Garcia and Vice President Jolly, for your support in my attendance, making my attendance possible. I'm truly grateful for these opportunities. Thank you. And as I say each year, being in attendance alongside other California Senates and noting those not in attendance, I am reminded how fortunate we are. Of the 116 California community college districts, the 80 that do have classified senates, some are still greatly limited in shared governance. And the colleges without a formal classified senate, participation tends to be even more limited and inconsistent. The classified professionals at SRJC are so unfortunate, not only to have a seat at the table, but as I learned from last week, a full place setting, the drink, the food, and the seasoning. That sense of full inclusion, it truly does make all the difference. Thank you so much. Wishing everyone a wonderful summer 410 and happy Pride. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll just echo, thanks for the folks who came out to the Pride celebration. That's one of the highlights of the summer, starting it off. So Dr. Garcia and was there with Trustee Battenfeld and I. And yeah, it's good, great attendance by students, staff and faculty, administrators. So great way to kick off the month. Next, we'll go on to the SGA report with SGA President Diego Roman Hernandez. There you are. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Board President Shaban, board members, President Garcia, and college community. I would like to start off by saying happy Pride. I was very proud to have marched with Dr. Garcia and the board president, along with Roscoe on the truck. It was one of the most meaningful experiences of my life, as being here at this college has been for me. I would like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Diego Antonio Roman Hernandez. I was born in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, and spent the first year of my life in Quebradillas, Puerto Rico, where my family grew up. My father, a sergeant in the Army, was deployed to Iraq when I was born, and due to that fact, we moved around constantly. I spent the first 4 years of my life after Puerto Rico in Germany in 2 different places. After that, 2 different places in Virginia. After that, 4 years in Kansas. After that, 6 years in Florida in 3 different places, leading to my eventual move out here to Sonoma County 3 years ago. That has created this deep connection to the places that I have lived in my life. It has taught me how to make a community out of the places that I have lived, and I'm very happy to say that this has become my community. Nothing has been more meaningful to me than moving out to Sonoma County and being here at the junior college. Before I got to the junior college, I didn't even think that university was an option for me, and now here I stand, the student body president of the Santa Rosa Junior College. Being here means so much, and I would like to thank every single one of you guys for being here and putting your heart and soul into our community. Some of us were born into this community. Some of us have been welcomed in as new members. So for that, I say thank you. I look very, very, very much forward to working with every single one of you in my term as student body president. as well as specifically Jason Reed as our new student trustee. There are a lot of issues that are facing the college, and I cannot wait to start tackling them. It is so exciting to be here today, and it is so exciting to represent the student body. And I would also like to say thank you to our former student trustee, Kaya Mountain Clark, who I don't think I would be here today without her. She has taught me so much, and I don't think I could have learned anything close to as much without her. So thank you so much, Kaya. With that being said, I would like to lay out that the first student government meet will be in 2 weeks on the 22nd, I believe, that Monday. We are hoping to start off our retreat pretty early and start kicking off a lot of different things. We hope to fill the currently vacant position that we have, the Vice President of Residence Life. And as well, I would like to educate some of the new members because a lot of our new members are dual enrollment high school students, which feels pretty unprecedented. We have like 4 dual enrollment high school students as members of student government, which I don't know if that has ever happened before, but I'd say that's pretty interesting. Otherwise, I would like to close my report by saying thank you. Thank you to all of you, and thank you to all of my friends who have supported me through this journey, and thank you to all my colleagues who have made this possible for me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have our AFA report with AFA President Ann Donegan, I believe, joining us via Zoom. We see you there. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Lovely. Thank you. Good afternoon and happy Pride to President Shaban, board members, President Garcia, my college colleagues, and the greater college community. I want to start off first saying that I was personally inspired by both the SGA president's comments and definitely the new student trustees' comments. And I appreciate Trustee Martinez's comments as well. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm in Massachusetts, which is my home. And I came here, well, I was born here, but my parents were immigrants and they knew no one. And what acclimated them was the public schools. And what myself and my siblings did in public schools. And I'm going to pull it together now. We need to do better in California. We need to do better. And I believe that unions, academic senates, classified senates, and administrators need to put pressure on on Sacramento and the chancellor's office to do more for our immigrant students and the children of immigrants, because it worked great for me 40 years ago as a white immigrant, but it needs to do better for all of our immigrants. And we need to put pressure on Sacramento to give our proper funding to our students who are immigrants. And they have real stories that we heard tonight, and we can work together to get rid of the skiff and bring back proper funding. Okay, now I'm going back on script. I apologize. I want to start by saying thank you to both the AFA and the district negotiations teams. This was a tough year, and I so appreciate the hard work that both Josh's and Kay's team did this year in reaching the TA. There is still a lot of important work to be done, but we have a good launching pad to start from. I also want to thank Sarah Wiley for her hard work and leadership on this past semester. I am so grateful that she was willing to step up, and I hope that she will come back to AFA leadership in the near future. Over the past 18 months, many have spoken at these board meetings and pointed out to situations at Sonoma State and Santa Rosa City schools as cautionary tales. I shared these concerns with you all, while also expressing my belief that our management team appeared to have a plan, one that focused on increasing enrollment and making strategic reduction to expenses. By the spring of 2025, though, we became aware that the district was seeking employee contributions towards healthcare costs. Yet during this past semester, we also learned that the district needed to make ongoing budget changes by over $10 million in order to address its financial challenges. It is important to recognize that the SRJC faculty members have taken this fiscal emergency seriously. We have acted as responsible partners by agreeing to contribute toward our healthcare costs, both last year and this coming academic year. In addition, we have agreed to forego our contractually obligated rank 10 salary increases as part of the effort to help address the district's financial situation. In our tentative agreement that AFA voting members supported by close to 90%, the district has agreed to cut $10 million from our budget by June of 2027, and then have in place $12 million in cuts in ongoing savings the following year. Now it is the time for the district to make the decisions necessary to reorganize the college and bring expenditures into alignment with available funding. Doing so is essential to ensure the institution's long-term fiscal stability, our ability to bring high-quality education to all of our students. AFA urges the district to think critically and question past practices. We need to reevaluate how our campuses and sites are effectively used. We need administrators to focus on managing the college, making Banner more user-friendly, and assuring Canvas is available in a timely manner to professors who are teaching this summer. Managing the college could be done more effectively if academic 10+1 work was done by faculty members. Now is the time to reimagine how we set up committees, including hiring committees, and to create department chairs for all academic programs. Of course, we need administrators.
You are over your 5 minutes, but I want to give you some. Yeah.
Thank you. My tears took too much time. They do an enormous amount of work at the college, but we can and should consider redefining some administrative job descriptions so they can better focus on our managerial tasks. This will not only lead to more effective management, but it will save the district a lot of money. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, we have our SEIU report with the SEIU President, Sandy Segala.
Good afternoon, President Siobhan, members of the board, Dr. Garcia and colleagues, and our students and community members. Thank you for a little bit of your attention today. I have a very short report, but I also want to welcome Ann Donegan back. It was good to see you, Ann, if you're still there. So one of the updates for you on our SEIU contract, just asking the board's approval for SEIU reopener negotiations for the 25-26. With board approval, SEIU and the district can commence negotiations on our 26-27 agreement reopeners. And a lot what Ann has talked about, we'll be talking about that. We haven't talked about it officially yet. So SEIU thanks. Well, thank you for your approval for that today. Hopefully we'll approve it. An update to the employees who were scheduled to be laid off due to the federal grant funding that was being terminated. SEIU and the district worked very closely together to try to stay away from the layoffs, and instead SEIU requested to place recruitment holds on a few of the vacant positions that were up for hire. By doing this, we were able to be very successful. We were able to place everyone in these vacant positions where they qualified for and were eligible to be transferred to, as they all met with the new supervisors. Fortunately, was a good fit, and both of the department and the classified ended up in a happy situation. So we're glad, and thank you greatly to the district, Kate Jolly and her team. It was wonderful working with her on this project. One position, however, has been terminated, was being terminated. The individual actually applied for a position on campus in the foundation department, and fortunate for him, he was hired there. We still have one position half-time placement for our last person. We haven't given up on this position yet, or this individual's placement. So all in all, SEIU greatly thanks the district and appreciates the working relationships when classified are confronted with these issues. So thank you so much. And finally, I was hope to just everyone have a fantastic break, enjoy the summer for a bit, and then we'll see you all in August. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next up, that brings us to our information agenda. Item C1, our monthly district board brief. C2, career technical education employment outcome survey. C3, legislative advocacy update. And then C4 are board policies and administrative procedures first reading. Items C1 through C3 are information only. There's no associated report. But wanted to see if board members have any comments or questions on those items, or if we have any public comment on them. So we'll start. Trustee Fishman.
I would like to comment on the CTE Employment Outcomes Survey, and I don't know. I mean, I just really appreciated getting that information. I mean, there was lots of things in there about what's working, what's not working. I understand that we have a contract. We do this for the state. A couple of my questions, I don't necessarily need to be addressed now, was how our college compared to the other college is in the survey. I mean, the data I got was for our college. I was just curious. And I was also curious how this information may lead to any kind of reassessment of curriculum offerings or anything else. But it was really great. And I really appreciated receiving this information, and thank you. But I don't know, I'll get Brad later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Fishman. Actually, on that point, I think, oftentimes, one of the common questions that comes up from board members is sort of how do we compare? And sometimes it's apples to oranges because of how things compare. But in terms of a survey like this, perhaps it's not. And when it is apples to apples, it's helpful because, I'm always the fastest one in the race if I'm the only one who I'm measuring the results for. But if we compare to other people that are doing the same thing, I think that's helpful. So I appreciate Trustee Fishman, you bringing that up. And I do recall, over the past year, those are fairly frequent questions. So I think that's well taken. Any other board member comments on these items or public comments? I do not have a public comment card or anyone online. Then I'll turn it over on item C4. Dr. Garcia does have a presentation, and take it away.
Great, thank you. So as has become practice to ensure that we are successfully addressing board policy and administrative procedures, this is the overview for board consideration. This is a first reading. And as a reminder to the trustees, but also to the community member that might be listening, board policies come to this board when it's gone through the participatory governance process, which means that it's been discussed and supported, approved in college council. So as you can see here, we have board policy 3600 related to auxiliary organizations, board policy 3820 gifts and donations, Board Policy 5150, Extended Opportunity and Services, EOPS. And as you can see, the notation on the right shows that all three of these are legally required. It will replace current district policies and will, as we've been working on, convert to the organizational system so that when there are legal updates that come from CCLC, we have the structure in place so that we can make very fast revisions as needed. I am happy to take any, oh, I forgot about this next one. Then we have the administrative procedures that follow the auxiliary organizations and EOPS. And so this is for information purposes. So you can see Administrative Procedure 3600, legally required, and will replace 2.12p. And these next two are new. So we have not had administrative procedures for EOPS or for district vehicles. So these are, there's one legally required, one legally advised, and it's gone through the process. So these are new to the district. I'm happy to take any questions or comments related to any of these policies or procedures.
Any board members with questions or comments on these, or public comment on this? Seeing none, we will move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to item to our consent agenda. That's items D1 through D16, with approval being item D17. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda? Do we have any public comment on the consent agenda here in the room or online? Seeing none, we will go to student trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, the ayes have it. The consent agenda is approved. That takes us to our action agenda, which is jam-packed with action this week with 16 different items, starting with E1, personnel actions. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments here in the room or online on this item, or board members wishing to speak? Seeing none, student trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? That item is approved. Next, item E2, the April 18th, 2026 to May 15th, 2026 warrants. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments on this item or board members wishing to speak on it? Seeing and hearing none, student trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any abstentions or opposed? That item is also approved. This takes us to item E3, our instructor load reports for spring and summer 2026. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments on this item here in the room or online, or board members wishing to speak on this? Seeing and hearing none, student trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? That passes with one abstention. Next, item E4, the 2026-27 tentative budget for the Sonoma County Junior College District. Do I have a motion and a second? We do have a presentation on this item.
No, just a quick update.
Perfect.
All right. Good afternoon again. So thank you for the time to give a brief overview of the 26-27 tentative budget. So the tentative budget is our authorization to spend. So that helps us keep the district running after July 1 while the state finalizes their budget, and then we finalize our local processes that will go into the adopted budget. For the state budget, since the governor released his May revise, budget discussions have continued to evolve at the state level. The governor, the Senate, and the Assembly are largely aligned on several funding priorities. However, they're working through a couple remaining items. The most significant differences remain in one-time investments for the student support block grant, deferred maintenance, which is critical to our district, enrollment growth funding, and then ongoing changes for enrollment calculations. So the negotiations, as I said, are ongoing. However, we do fully anticipate an agreement ahead of July 1. Additionally, we will be heading back to the table in negotiations with our units. So there's still quite a bit to develop on our side for the final budget. But I'm happy to present a balanced budget to you for today. So the 26-27 tentative budget that you have has removed any one-time revenues and expenses from the prior year budget and includes any changes that are in the system automatically, such as step increases, And then we've added in the budget reductions necessary to present the balanced budget. All other changes will be included in the adopted budget, which we will bring in September for approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. First, I'll see if there's any public comment on this item in the room or online. Seeing none, any board members with questions or comments on it? Seeing none, I'll just say thank you for your work on this. It's a solid tentative budget. We don't know what we don't know yet, and we'll know it when we know it. So thank you very much for that. With that, we have a motion and a second. Student trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? The ayes have it. The tentative budget for 26-27 is approved. Next, item E5, the AFA and district reopeners for 26-27 negotiations. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comment here in the room or online on this item, or board members wishing to speak? Seeing none, student trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstention? The ayes have it. That is approved. Next, E6, the tentative agreement for revisions to the collective bargaining agreement between the district and AFA. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comment on this item or board members wishing to speak? Seeing and hearing none. Student trustee Reed. Aye. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? That item is approved. Next up, item E7, SRJC Foundation Master Agreement with the district. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comment here in the room or online, or board members wishing to speak on this item? Seeing and hearing none. Student trustee Reed. Aye. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? That item is approved. That takes us to item E8, the 2026 to 2029 districts EEO plan. Do I have a motion and a second? We do have a presentation on this from VP Kate Jolly.
We do. So, again, good afternoon, President Shaban, members of the board. Dr. Garcia, College Community, I am pleased to provide an update on our district's 26 through 29 Equal Employment Opportunity, or EEO, plan for your approval this evening. So I'm going to start with an overview. The EEO plan is a required 3-year strategic plan that outlines how the district will promote equal employment opportunity in our recruitment, our hiring, our retention, and advancement of our employees. So every California community college district is required by Title V regulations to maintain an EEO plan. The goal of it is really to ensure that all qualified individuals have equitable access to employment opportunities, and that the district maintains a workforce that reflects and serves the diversity of our students and our community. The plan is not simply a hiring document. It really serves as a roadmap for how we attract, hire, develop, and retain a diverse and highly qualified workforce. It includes strategies before, during, and after hiring to support employee success. And it moves us beyond legal compliance to focus on creating a fair, inclusive, and equitable employment practices throughout the employee life cycle by removing barriers to employment opportunities and strengthening inclusive practices across the institution. The objective of the plan is to help us evaluate whether our processes are producing equitable outcomes for all of our applicants and employees. It encourages the use of data to identify opportunities for improvement for addressing barriers throughout the employee life cycle, including the recruitment process, hiring, promotion, and retention. It supports our commitment to student success by recognizing that a diverse workforce brings a broader range of experiences, perspectives, and expertise. It supports improving representation in areas where the demographics of our workforce may not completely reflect our available labor markets. And throughout it all, the work must be ongoing and requires continuous evaluation and improvement. So the regulations require districts to develop specific strategies that address all phases of employment, and plans must include measurable outcomes and timelines, as well as components focused on the components on the screen, including an analysis of our workforce and applicant data, reviewing employee life cycle from pre-hiring to retention, stated goals for accountability, as well as an annual review of the progress towards those goals. All of this must be done in collaboration with our Equal Employment Opportunity Advisory Committee, or EEOAC. So you'll see their fingerprints throughout, as well as your oversight of this process. So for our timeline, our last EEO plan was approved by the Chancellor's Office in May of 24. It expires at the end of this month. So from January to March of this year, we worked with the EEOAC to develop the draft of a new plan for recommendation. We submitted that draft in early March to the Chancellor's Office for their feedback. We received their feedback in mid-April. So it is strongly encouraged by the Chancellor's Office that the recommendations be incorporated into the plan. So that's, we've incorporated that in for, and we'll submit that back for approval. We provided that feedback to the EEOAC on May 15th. They submitted the recommendations back for incorporation in. As mentioned, we've incorporated into the version that's on your agenda for final approval. And then September 1st is the annual certification to the Chancellor's Office, and you'll see that each year on your agenda going forward. Okay, so based on the feedback from the Chancellor's Office, we incorporated some proposed changes that we need to highlight for you. So the first recommendation that we received was to expand awareness beyond our annual notices and postings. They wanted us to include marketing and outreach and other communication methods. To address that, we added additional dissemination strategies, including employee information sessions, QR codes to the EEO plan in high traffic locations such as HR, including the plan language in our district email campaigns and newsletters, as well as communication to our employee listservs. The second feedback that we received was for other district-specific rehiring strategies. They are recommending we include additional recruitment strategies to reach underrepresented groups. To address, we added the development of strategic partnerships with organizations that support underrepresented communities, expanding our advertising to additional culturally specific recruitment platforms, expanding our employee internship programs, participating in outreach events, an annual evaluation of the effectiveness of our recruitment and advertising strategies, and increasing our marketing resources where we can. Additionally, there was a request for greater accountability and evaluation of outreach efforts. So at least one EEOAC meeting each semester will be dedicated to reviewing all of our applicant data, recruitment sources, and advertising outcomes. After that assessment, they will make additional recommendations to ensure continuous improvement. The fourth recommendation was for procedures for addressing diversity throughout hiring steps and levels, and that we clearly identify the underrepresentation, adverse impact, and barriers throughout the hiring process. To address, we are proposing to add the review and improvement of our NeoEd, our platform that we use for recruitment, applicant tracking, coding, reporting, and analysis. We're also recommending to conduct a 5-year longitudinal applicant pool analysis by underrepresented status, identify barriers in our recruitment processes, as well as development of targeted interventions and effectiveness measures in coordination with our institutional effectiveness research and planning department. Our fifth component was to include strategies to reduce potential bias in the applicant screening process. To address this, we are proposing to explore adding anonymous screening of our recruitment pool starting in 27-28. As a part of this, we will explore the ability to remove identifying information such as name, address, contact information, dates, institutions, and gender from the applications for the initial screening process. Our sixth recommendation from the Chancellor's Office is for recruitment efforts and strategies. They requested that recruitment activities be aligned with our identified underrepresentation and adverse impact data. To address, we added a 5-year workforce analysis for representation and retention, onboarding tracking for disability status, which is a new category coming from the state. We also are including that once we do the analysis, we will develop targeted recruitment strategies based on that assessment of our effectiveness metrics, as well as participating in conferences and organizations that support underrepresented communities. Our final recommendation from the Chancellor's Office was for stronger connections between identified disparities and specific interventions, measurable outcomes, and accountability. Some of the previous recommendations already addressed this, but as an overview, we added the applicant pool and workforce longitudinal analysis, adverse impact and underrepresentation reviews, identification of barriers to recruitment, and targeting interventions to those barriers, developing and assessing effectiveness metrics, exploring the implementation of an anonymous screening process, and focusing our recruitment efforts for underrepresented groups. All of these recommendations have been incorporated into the proposed plan that is attached in board docs for your approval today. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation. First, we'll go, are there any public comments in the room or online on this item? All right, board members with any comments or questions? Trustee Fishman.
You know, this represents a ton of work, so thank you for that. And all of your revised changes also equal more, but worthy work. And I see that, acknowledge that, and, you know, thank you. That's it.
I need to give credit to the EEOIC who have done an incredible lift, as well as Susanna Sidney, who has been leading that and really bringing us forward to today. Thank you.
I just have one question. So I think the last time we received an EEO update, I mean, a number of the things that are included as recommendations seem to overlap with initiatives that we were already working on. Is that fair to say that, you know, because I don't want there to be a perception that some of these things that were suggested as solutions or things that we didn't talk about. I mean, I remember sitting here at the dais and having a pretty robust discussion about it, right? So our team has been working on this in addition to working through those recommendations.
Yes, most definitely. So the requirement coming from the Chancellor's Office is that we actually have to verbalize the changes that we're recommending and incorporating in prior to your approval. So this is work that has been in the making, as well as future vision that we would love to implement.
Wonderful. All right, we have heard, I think, from all board members, so we can go to a vote on that. So I'll go to Student Trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? The EEO plan is approved. That takes us to item E9. That's BPs 6320, 6330, 6340, 6900, and 6910 on second reading. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments in the room or online on this item, or board members wishing to speak to it? Seeing and hearing none, we will call the roll. Student Trustee Reed. Aye. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Those policies are approved. Item E10, Management Team Economic Compensation Package for 2026-27. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments on this item here in the room or online, or board members wishing to discuss this item? Seeing and hearing none. Student Trustee Reed. Aye. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? This item is approved. That takes us to item E11, consideration to enter into employment agreements for unrepresented employees, academic administrators. I do have a statement to read on that one. Paragraph 3 of subdivision C of Government Code Section 54953 requires that before taking final action, the Board of Trustees must orally report a summary of recommendations regarding the salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of local agency executives. Therefore, I am reporting the following summary regarding such items appearing on the agenda. Dr. Julio Rene Flores, Dean, Counseling and Support Services at Range 31, Step E, with an annual salary of $214,140 from July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2028 with a 2% doctoral stipend and health and welfare benefits granted to management employees. Rebecca Lavelle, Director, Student Support Programs at Range 23, Step E, with an annual salary of $175,764 from July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2028, with welfare benefits granted to management employees. Dr. Catherine McGee, Director, Associate Degree in Nursing Program at Range 28, Step E, with an annual salary of $198,852 from July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2028, with a 2% doctoral stipend and 11th year longevity stipend and health and welfare benefits granted to management employees. Dr. Rebecca Norwick, Director, Student Services at Range 26, Step E, with an annual salary of $189,276 from July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2028, with a 2% doctoral stipend and health and welfare benefits granted to management employees. Dr. Victor Tam, Dean, Science, Technology, Engineering, Agriculture, and Mathematics at Range 34, Step E, with an annual salary of $230,604 from July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2028, with a 2% doctoral stipend and health and welfare benefits granted to management employees. Do I have a motion and a second? Do we have any public comments on this item here in the room or online, or board members wishing to speak on it? Seeing and hearing none, we will go to Student Trustee Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstention? That item is approved. Next, item E12, Resolution 10-26, changes to the adopted budget. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments on this item or board members wishing to speak? Seeing and hearing none, this does require a roll call vote. Kehlani, please call the roll.
Student Trustee Reed. Trustee Battenfeld. Trustee Bricker. Trustee Fishman. Trustee Martinez. Trustee Shaban.
Aye. That item is approved. Next, E13, Resolution 11-26, final action on resolution and decision not to reemploy classified employees for the 2026-27 school year. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments on this item? Seeing and hearing none, any board members wishing to speak? All right, we will call the roll.
Student Trustee Reed. Trustee Battenfeld. Trustee Bricker. Trustee Fishman. Trustee Martinez. Trustee Shaban.
Aye. All right, that item is approved. That takes us to item E14, Resolution 12-26, to increase and approve the GAN limit, the GAN appropriations limit for 26-27. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comment here in the room or online, or board members wishing to speak? Seeing and hearing none, please call the roll.
Student Trustee Reed. Trustee Battenfeld. Trustee Bricker. Trustee Fishman. Trustee Martinez. Trustee Shaban.
Aye. All right, that takes us to item E15, Resolution 13-26, resolution of the Board of Trustees ordering an election and establishing specifications of the election order. Do I have a motion and a second on that? We do have one public comment submitted on this. Mike Vonderpoorten, please go ahead.
Good evening again. Perhaps there's no more important matter that you're going to be talking about in this year than this. But first of all, this board is supposed to be a deliberative body. That is, you're supposed to bring stuff before yourselves and discuss it in public. And yet we somehow went from 4 different versions of the bond to one without any discussion. There's some key elements here I'd like to hear the board members talk about. How come we haven't heard it? How come there's unanimous consent or agreement to this thing, and it was all done by a miracle. There are no documents, no backup information, no analysis, no information that the board or the staff has. No spreadsheets, none of this. I've been told none of that exists. When you were here at the last meeting, you had some consultants come. I went to speak to the consultants afterwards. I've done that at many public meetings, and you can always talk to the consultants. Your staff came forward and told the consultants, don't talk to the public. Why are you cutting us off? What are you afraid of? That we'll have the information, we'll have some knowledge, the public might understand this bond issue? What are you afraid of? I've never heard of such a thing. We have incomplete information. We don't have the complete information from the analysts and the experts. They're telling us that they're being conservative in their estimates of the tax base. Why don't we see the table of their estimates so that we can determine if they're going to be conservative or not? How do you board members have any idea if that's a true statement or not if you've never seen the list of estimated tax basis going out till 2059? Why is this being hidden from you? We've only apparently have a contract with the survey company, but all we've got is the contract. We have nothing else. And then I put in a public records request 16 days ago. You all know Public Records Acts require responses within 10 days. I got a response yesterday. That means it was only yesterday that I started to get some data. If you believe in any basis that this organization follows the Public Records Act, you are totally misinformed. I should have had that data 6 days ago, not yesterday, and it was a tiny amount of data. It wasn't complete. Now, when you get to this sheet, there's some key information that you should be talking about. First of all, notice that you're going to start selling bonds in April of 27. Okay, that means you're going to get this passed in November, sell bonds in April of 27. You're going to have then you're going to start paying for it 4 years later. So we're going to put ourselves in the situation of borrowing money, paying interest on it, and not even beginning to pay it back for 4 years. Is that a good process for a board? Look at the other numbers on here. It says the payout rate is 2.12x.
That is your 3 minutes.
Well, I think,
Thank you.
let me give me 1 minute.
Yeah, please wrap up. Yeah, I'll
So
give you.
with
15
the
minutes
other,
wrap up.
the current bond, the payout ratio is 1.34. That is, for every dollar borrowed, you pay back $1.34, $1.34, 34 cents of interest on every dollar borrowed. We're going to pay back $1.12 of interest on every dollar borrowed on this. That's a huge amount of interest. This board hasn't discussed it. Why are you willing to pay so much interest on this bond? The other part you need to look at is this expenditure is going to go to 2039. Expenditures go to 2039, but the payout, the bondholders or the taxpayers are stuck until 2059. When we looked at the prior bond,
All right, thank you. That is
2014.
That is it.
We had no idea what.
That's the end of those public comments. You know, we give leeway sometime, and I'd appreciate it. People providing comment, respect that. And that was not just respected. Are there other public comments here in the room or online? Then we will turn it over to the board for discussion and debate. Any members of the board wishing to speak on this item? Who's going to go first? We'll start with Trustee Bricker.
Lucky me, I'll go first. Yeah. So I sat with this decision for a really long time. And as I reflected on whether to support putting this measure on the ballot, I thought about one of the most remarkable things about SRJC is our deep connection with this community. The college supports Sonoma County, and Sonoma County has supported this college in many ways, including through previous bond measures A and Measure H. This community has shown its dedication to SRJC time and again. So as I considered today's vote, I kept two things in mind. First, the needs at SRJC are very real. We have aging facilities, critical infrastructure needs, and a responsibility to preserve access to a high-quality college education. Second, our community is also facing real economic pressure. Families are dealing with higher grocery bills, higher gas prices, housing costs, and an overall rising cost of living. So while SRJC has a long history of community support, and while this is designed not to increase tax rates, we should be honest that in this environment, passage is not guaranteed. If the district is going to place this before voters at this moment, we must remain accountable to them. As a representative of North County, I believe a bond program must clearly benefit the entire district. That includes communities that are further from our campus locations. In part, that means supporting critical programs like public safety, firefighting, agriculture, nursing, and workforce training, which directly benefit the entire community. It also means investing in technology that supports learning, including online learning, for students who cannot easily travel to campus because of scheduling or transportation challenges, but who still want to pursue their educational goals. Distance should never be a barrier that prevents potential students from benefiting from SRJC, and we must consider how a bond can benefit even those who can't easily make it to one of our physical locations. And as projects are considered, we must seek community input from all corners, not just those who raise their hand or have loud voices. We must base decisions on data related to student need and on established district priorities and align expenditures to our core mission. So I will be voting in favor of this resolution, but I want to be clear that I expect this to come with a commitment that we use these dollars responsibly and in a way that serves our community members, all of them, across the entire district. They have supported this college before, and if the measure is approved by voters, we need to remain true to these commitments in return. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Battenfeld.
Thank you. Like Trustee Bricker, I've also been kind of weighing whether to do this or not, weighing what kind of a bond we need. And I really do, first of all, appreciate the fact that because, you know, we're looking for ways to do funding without putting additional burdens on our taxpayers and our community. I really do appreciate what Kate Jolly and others have structured it in a way so that we'll have access to additional funding that we need without asking taxpayers to pay additional taxes. And so I really appreciate that, and that's really, you know, important to me. Like Trustee Bricker, I really do think as an individual trustee, and I do think as a board, our commitment does need to be, if the community supports us and passes the bond, that we are responsible and serious, that we involve the community, all parts of the community in discussions and prioritizing and putting together the planning and putting together the budgets and figuring out what our priorities need to be. You know, in thinking about this, you know, my responsibility really is as a trustee to make sure that the JC can continue to serve our students, you know, the diverse needs that they have to serve our community into the future in a sustainable way. And this means that we need to continue to make sure that our career programs, our academic programs are strong and are modern in a way that meets our workforce and our academic needs. I mean, I'm fortunate that my kids and now my grandkids, because of the training that they got at the JC in public safety, in nursing, are able to live and work in this community and make a good wage and are able to raise a family here. And I think the commitment is that the JC needs to be able to continue to do that and continue to serve, you know, the next generations coming in, and to serve the community in the needs that they need, in what we need for careers and for adjusting to new career needs. And for that, we need new facilities. And without a bond, in thinking about it, our facilities needs are not going to go away. In fact, if we wait, it's been mentioned before about other districts that kind of put their heads in the sand and said, well, let's push this down the road and deal with it later. But that's not a responsible, way to do it. We need to be proactive, and that means looking at how we're going to fund our facilities and technology needs now, but not at the expense of taking it out of the general fund, taking it out of salaries, taking it out of programs. And in an ideal world, the state and the federal government would step up and provide that. But realistically, it's not going to happen. So for me, in looking at the option is, asking voters to support a bond, and to do it now before costs get higher, before facilities get worse, or it's going to cost us more, for example, to upgrade the Public Safety Training Center or to upgrade our nursing programs. And so I do think that now is the time to move forward. I was also really heartened. I asked a question in the last meeting about, can we leverage additional funds? And you mentioned, in fact, today that because we don't have new funds right now, we can't ask the state for additional, facilities money. And I think you mentioned that we were able to leverage an additional $50 million because of Measure H, and that's not insignificant. So that's, I think, also an important positive aspect. And again, I think new facilities with Measure H, I think we've seen that the Measure H facilities are saving us money because we've been able to upgrade our facilities. Our energy costs are lower. Our what we call total cost of operating buildings are lower. And so it's fiscally responsible to upgrade things as well. And I'm sure other people are going to have other arguments that I appreciate. Again, I appreciate the work that the staff has gone into this. And I am going to vote in favor of the bond.
Thank you. Trustee Fishman.
Sometimes I just admire the board that I sit with, how articulate they put things together so well. And I'm going to tell you about the circus in my stomach, in making this decision, the thinking that's gone on, and the endless questions to Kate Jolly and to Dr. Garcia that I've had. And I think it's true. This might be one of the second most important decision that we've made, or I have made. The first being was hiring a president. The second will be whether or not we do a bond. And I've gone through my own process, sitting with it, walking around the house, sort of thinking about it, to come to a decision. We've discussed the needs. It's been articulated well. I sort of edited what I was going to say quickly, so I'm not redundant. I've looked at all of the academic papers, the polling, and then I've done unscientific polling, my own polling. I have reached out to people in the community, ex-board members, people they're very close to the junior college, and to get their feedback and their sense of where they think we're going with this. My coffee club, my book club, my chair yoga class, don't laugh, it's really true, to get a sense. I've sat with donors from the foundation that have showed me their property tax bill and want to talk about it. And the one true thing that comes through almost with everybody is they love the junior college enough that this is a good thing to do, that we need to move in a positive forward direction. And yet I still had a hard time sort of where am I at about all this? And I had a conversation with a 5-year-old. It was helpful. It was helpful. And she was dressed up in a princess outfit with a tiara and those shoes that blink on and off. And I asked her what she was going to do when she grows up. And this is actually very true. And she said, well, I'm going to be a princess doctor and I'm going to the SRJC. And I went, okay, here's my future. Here's the child that I need to make sure has the classroom they need, has the equipment in the classroom, that doesn't have the leaky roof, that has all the facilities they need, that we need to take, and it needs to be 21st century. So we're moving into the 21st century. I've gone through, heartfelt discussion and thought about this. They've been a little more articulate than perhaps I am, but I'm all in.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from board members? Well, then I'll back clean up. There's going to be some duplication, but it's important for me that I clearly articulate my thinking on this. So please bear with me. The concept of the bond has been thoroughly vetted, publicly vetted, with outreach, multiple presentations, significant study, and significant soul searching, I believe, as you've heard from each of our board members. We've had a deliberative and intentional process to get here. What it comes down to for me is advancing the bond measure to the voters is not just about brick and mortar. It's about investing in the success of our students and the future of our community here in Sonoma County. It's about building the future that we seek. This vote is about the students, faculty, and staff inside the buildings. This bond, if advanced to the voters and if approved, will improve our ability to offer courses, provide instructional equipment to meet the needs of a modern workforce, and maintain effective learning environments. This college and this board has been laser focused on sustainable budgeting and organizational structure to ensure that we can meet our mandate on student success within our resources. Measure H has been a critical tool for the college, but there's still great unmet needs. We get very little from the state, and what we do get is not reliable on a year-to-year basis. And that's not going to change anytime soon. We still have $1.7 billion in identified capital needs and deferred maintenance for this district. And that number is not going to shrink without a new revenue stream. The district's tentative budget that we just approved for 26-27 lays bare that beginning in 27-28, we'll go from approximately $40 million in the upcoming year in special fund resources for capital projects and deferred maintenance to just a few $1 million. That's not sustainable. It's untenable. We cannot ignore our capital needs. In the absence of a bond, we would be forced to divert general fund dollars to maintenance and capital needs. That's undeniable. That occurrence would have significant impact on our employees and on our students, on our ability to provide student support services, course offerings, and effective learning spaces. And at the same time, we can only cut so much to invest in those facilities, so our needs will continue to grow. Waiting is not a good alternative. Inflation in the cost of construction outpaces the California Consumer Price Index consistently. Waiting longer means less bang for our buck. Additionally, deferring maintenance needs can cause small issues with relatively manageable costs to balloon into much larger ones. SRJC has proven to be a great steward of our past bond measures. And as has been mentioned, they were key in drawing down tens of millions of dollars in matching funds that wouldn't have been available to this community had the voters not stepped up and funded this college and recognize that value. This measure includes important safeguards, including a citizen bond oversight committee. And I am confident that this entire board is committed to upholding the public trust and making sure that this bond is as meaningful and effective as possible at meeting our mandate. I'm committed to ensure an open, transparent, and deliberative process to ensure that should this bond move forward and should the voters deem appropriate to approve it, that we advance a spending plan and an investment plan that focuses on that core mission and leverages that investment by the voters to the maximum extent possible. We have a real opportunity here to invest in expanding programs in high demand areas. We have programs that would be self-sustaining if we only had the physical infrastructure to offer that coursework. From career technical education to expanding our public safety training center capacity, to supporting our associate's degrees and lifelong learning across the county, this bond can and will be transformational. And I concur with my colleague from North County in saying we need to make sure that this benefits our entire community. And, at the last meeting, we tweaked the language to allow for the leasing of certain facilities. And I think that can be a benefit that we can look at in providing increased connectivity and services to other parts of the county that have lower enrollment, but much more need. And that gives us the flexibility to do that in a deliberative way, a holistic way going forward. This isn't a decision I take lightly. SRJC has been changing and enriching lives for 108 years. That took vision, dedication, and hard work from so many people who came before us. And I believe as a board member, I have a moral obligation to put the college in the best position possible to meet the needs of this current generation of students and future generations of students. Given these great needs that we've talked about in our deferred maintenance and our capital needs, and given the substantial public support that has been demonstrated by the polling beyond the margin of error to support this, I believe that we have the obligation to empower the voters of this district to make the decision. We're not making any decision here today other than letting the voters decide. And the voters have stepped up for this college in the past. As has been mentioned, this bond measure will not raise taxes. It maintains the current rate that everyone has been paying under Measure H. For all those reasons today, I'm supporting putting this measure before the voters. Thank you very much for your indulgence in my filibuster. With that, unless there are any last comments or questions, I believe, student trustee, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to make a couple of really quick points. I haven't had as much time as my esteemed board members have had with this decision, but I do know that it is for the benefit of the students to pass this. And the little information that I do have, I'm confident that the board members that have had the time to sit with it and have gotten into the details of what this will bring for students in the community alike. I'm very confident in the fact that that you guys have done your due diligence in those details, and so I just wanted to voice my approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I have a motion and a second. All debate having ceased, please call the roll.
Student trustee Reed. Aye. Trustee Battenfeld. Aye. Trustee Bricker. Aye. Trustee Fishman. Aye. Trustee Martinez. Aye. Trustee Shaban.
Aye. All right, with that, the item is approved. Thank you, board members, for that robust and heartfelt discussion. Next, that takes us to item E16, Resolution 14-26, specification of election order for Sonoma County, and Resolution 15-26, specification of election order for Marin County, because the district covers part of Marin County in Trustee Fishman's district. Do I have a motion and a second? Do I have any public comments here in the room or online? Mr. Vonderpoorten, you have
Sure.
3 minutes.
I will keep it under 3 minutes. The question isn't, should we have a bond? The question is this?
That is not on this item. That
It
is.
is.
No, this is item calling for election of trustees.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Any public comment on this item calling for election for the 4 trustee districts that are up for election this year? Here in person or online, or board members wishing to discuss it? Seeing and hearing none, please call the roll.
Student trustee Reed. Trustee Battenfeld. Trustee Bricker. Trustee Fishman. Trustee Martinez. Trustee Shaban.
Aye. With that, the desk is clear. Thank you, everyone, for your attention and attendance. This meeting is adjourned.